Welcome back to Africa in Perspective. My name is Nelda and I make videos about all things Africa from Mondays to Fridays. Today we're talking about Bill Gates. If you don't know who Bill Gates is, that's totally fine. He is the co-founder of Microsoft, which is a big computer software company, and he is a billionaire. He has a net worth of roughly $116 billion. Yes, billions. And he has pledged that by the year 2045, when he'll be roughly 90 years old, he's going to give away about $200 billion, and a majority of that wealth is going to be donated to Africa, and it's going to be used primarily for health research, to help people to get access to primary health care, education as well. So he's pledged a huge amount of money, and a big majority is going to Africa. So a lot of people having questions, a lot of people skeptical, and I'm just going to be weighing in on what I think this means for the billionaire class especially, and also for Africa, because I've made videos before about Africa receiving aid, and I think this is going to be a good addition to that series. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, click the subscribe button and feel free to share and like the video. On May 8th, 2025, Bill Gates announced that he was going to be accelerating how much money his foundation was giving away to the world entirely. So he has a foundation known as the Gates Foundation, named after himself, and he announced that he was going to give roughly $200 billion by 2045, so 20 years from today. And the reason for this is that he turned 70, his foundation turned 25 years old, and he says that unlike some billionaires in the world, he doesn't want to die rich. He was born not so rich. He made his money and he wants to give that away as much as possible. And even in his speech, he cited Andrew Carnegie, who was a big billionaire as well, who towards the end of his life also gave away a bunch of money. So basically he was inspired by him, quoted his speech, and so this made me think a lot about billionaires as a class altogether, and the fact that I've always felt a little bit weird about the fact that there's billionaires in the world and then there's also people dying in my continent. It makes me feel very uncomfortable that somebody was able to accumulate that much amount of money, and then now they're turning back and being like,
actually, I'm such a good person and I want to give away all this money.
I'm grateful that he's choosing to give this money away, but at the same time, I'm thinking that why did he gather all that money in the first place, you know? So I do have a little bit of bitterness towards the billionaire class, to be frank, just because they get to live a life that some people could only dream of. But on the other hand as well, I appreciate the fact that Bill Gates especially has been one of the people who was specifically called for other billionaires and millionaires as well to donate. And the Gates Foundation in particular receives a lot of money and endowment from other billionaires as well, like Warren Buffett, for example. So this is something that it's a bittersweet situation, because there's a part of it that's like, yay, Africa is receiving more money, which, by the way, we're going to be talking about, because I'm not too happy with the fact that Africa is this dumping ground for philanthropic activities. Not that we don't need philanthropic activities, but that we are in some sense becoming beggars, and we need it, and beggars are not choosers, yes, but at the same time, I don't want this to be the story for Africa for the rest of our lives. Like, I was born and Africa was a beggar, and I don't want to die and Africa is still a beggar. I'm not happy with that, with this setup that we're always going to be the ones that are like,
oh my gosh, we're so poor.
So, for example, I think it was the first lady of Malawi who congratulated Bill Gates for making this announcement, because he made an announcement during the African Union meeting in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and people were very happy about this. And the first lady came out to say, oh, this is such a great light in a moment of darkness, because recently, a few weeks, no weeks actually, it's been a month I think, when Elon Musk and Trump decided to, so I'm just going to explain that very briefly. Elon Musk, big billionaire as well, richest man in the world right now, and Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, decided to create something called the Department of Government Efficiency in the United States government, and that has started cutting down funding to different places. And one of the places that was majorly affected was USAID and PEPFAR as well. So these two organizations give a lot of money to Africa, especially to help with primary healthcare access. So to help, for example, maternal health. A lot of women in Africa die when they're giving birth to children, and when the children have been born, they also end up dying, because we have high infant mortality rates as well in Africa. So I'm a little bit appreciative with the fact that Bill Gates noticed that, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to give a little bit more. I'm going to accelerate the funding that's coming from my organization towards Africa. I appreciate it, and I'm not taking that away from him. However, on the other hand, the fact that there are billionaires in Africa as well, which to me is also very weird, because the fact of accumulating wealth while other people are dying does not sit comfortably with me. So that's just my part and the little cent that I have to throw in there. So I appreciate him. I appreciate that he came up with this, and he's given the scope for the next 20 years. So he's saying that currently the Gates Foundation gives away roughly 6 billion annually. They're going to increase that slowly towards 9 billion, and then eventually it's going to go all the way up to 10 billion a year. And then hopefully in the next 2 decades, so 20 years, it's going to help him sort of like give away the money. But even when you think about it realistically, Bill Gates has $116 billion net worth. That's his net worth. And then his foundation, the Gates Foundation, has roughly $77 billion in endowment. So he has more than $200 billion, which means even if he does give away all this money, if he does live to 2045, hopefully he does, I'm not wishing him any evil, but if he does live to that age, he will still be a billionaire. He will still have $1 billion. And so on the other hand, I'm like, okay, good for him. He was able to work really hard. But on the flip side, I feel a little bit bitter, to be frank. And I think I've already said that, so I'm just going in circles. But I feel that needs to be said, is that we appreciate it when billionaires are being philanthropic. But at the same time, I'm being a little bit skeptical. Is it because you're dying that you're giving this money? What if you're immortal? Were you going to give away this money in the first place? So it brings a lot of questions. But with that out of the way, then, this money that he's giving away is going to be focused on three primary things. So Bill Gates is giving away money, and it's going to be focused on ending preventable deaths of mothers and babies. That is something that I'm personally very passionate about. I mean, I study neuroscience, and I'm very, very interested in how children's brains develop. And to understand that, you also need to understand maternal health. And a lot of women die in Africa just trying to bring new life. Also, this is an unpopular opinion that I have, but I think maternal health should be free. I think just the concept that a woman is bringing new life into the world, why? I don't think women should be paying for this. So that is number one. But I can make a whole another video about that. Just let me know if you want me to make that video. The other thing that Bill Gates' money is going to be used to is to be used on, English is not my first language, eradicating deadly infectious diseases like polio, like malaria, measles, and guinea worm disease. Again, Africa is the epicenter of diseases in the world. It's just a lot that we've been dealt with by God. So it's a nice thing that he's going to be looking at this, and we are going to struggle with infectious diseases for quite some time in Africa. And I think the key hindrance in fighting infectious diseases is education. We can't get past that. People have to be educated on very simple things like sanitation, on very simple things like how to ensure that mosquitoes don't have a breeding ground in your home. So there is a part that is fighting those diseases after they've already infested themselves in people, but then there's also another part of prevention. So I hope the money is spent in a good way to ensure that infectious diseases slow down in how prevalent they're becoming in Africa. And then the third thing that the money is going to be spent on is lifting millions of people out of poverty through health and education initiatives. So it's very much focused on health and education, which I love, by the way, because I am very pro public health initiatives and education initiatives as well. So I'm happy about that. The other thing that I just wanted to mention is that they're focusing on, because Gates highlighted that Rwanda's use of AI-enabled ultrasound has reduced high-risk pregnancies. And so there's a lot of talk on artificial intelligence investments as well. So this is a conversation that sadly Africa is going to be behind on. Not that Africa is going to be behind. Africa is already behind on the artificial intelligence conversation. But something that Gates did mention is that Africa is doing very well on mobile money apps, and the whole fintech industry is moving quite fast, which is a good thing actually. So they're going to try and work with these fintech geniuses to see how they can integrate a lot of their technologies and their systems to be able to help people who are struggling with very simple things that Africa should really have gotten rid of right now. Overall, I'm a little bit bitter about about the fact that billionaires exist in the first place. So I have my own qualms with the billionaire class. But on the other hand as well, I think it's not a very bad thing that he's finally being like, you know what, I have made my money. I've enjoyed my life. I'm now 70 years old and I'm going to give this money away. And personally, I don't know, will I ever become a billionaire? I mean, I would want to. I think it would be hypocritical to say I don't want to become a billionaire. Imagine all the money. Imagine having a private jet. Anyways, all I can say is I don't think I would be comfortable letting myself get that far. I don't think I would be comfortable letting myself get that far. But even if if in some world I can, if, because somehow I believe in the multiverse, yeah. So if in the multiverse I were ever a billionaire, I don't think, okay, I know I can. I know I can't. Technically, I can earn $1 billion. But I'm trying to stop myself from even entertaining that thought just because I will become a billionaire when Africans are comfortably happy. Because nearly 500 million people in Africa are living in poverty. So I don't think I'll be comfortable being a billionaire if there is even one person in Africa who's living under the poverty line. So those are my 2 cents. I don't know why I went ahead and just gave you that spiel, but thank you so much for watching. And if there are any topics at all that you're interested in me commenting on, if you think my commentary is helpful, it actually is, but if you think it is, just let me know what you want me to comment on and I'll go ahead and make a video for you. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share and like and do all the YouTube things to make this video go far. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and you'll see me in the next video. Bye.